Thanks for listening to that great Manc pod. Please do us a massive favour and subscribe to this podcast. And if you can, leave us a review on iTunes. Both are a massive help enabling us to promote the people and the great causes we champion to a much bigger audience. If you want to get in touch, give us a follow on Twitter at GreatMancPod and drop us a DM. Cheers.
You're listening to That Great Manc Pod, Greater Manchester's community podcast. Top 100.
Listen, mate, it's great to talk to you again, and obviously a lot's happened since we last talked. So can you tell us who you are, what you do, and just a bit about where you are now, life wise?
So I'm James Walton, writer, script writer, filmmaker, poet.
Mate.
Long list of stuff. And at the minute, just got a 9-month-old, so that's thingy, and then a 6-year-old as well. So that's all, I guess, added to the sheet of what I do.
Yeah.
And then last Saturday I released my first novel, which is the second book I've released. First one being a collection of poetry.
Right.
And then last Saturday I released my my first book, Every Neet at Week.
So the first, just going back to and we can talk about how we got in touch, which seems like a long time ago now, and it probably was. The poetry book. How's that done? I mean, I've seen you. I've seen you at the signings. I've seen you pushing it. I know you've had some good support from Manc, and they seem to be right behind it and stuff. How was the response to that?
Yeah, it's been good. Reached out to loads of different people. I got messages off because it's quite obviously a lot of it is, like I say, as you know, same with script writing. I write a lot of stuff. I write it in the way that I talk. So a lot of the poetry is sort of that kind of Wigan dialect. So that's like appealed to a lot of people.
Mm.
I've had people that were born here, but they might, they live on the other side of the world. I had a lady, I think, that lives in Florida, and she'd messaged me and said she wants a copy. And it's really, because like I say, I've never been like a big poetry reader, writer. It was obviously into lockdown where I always can't go out and make films or anything. And then
that's when we first met, innit?
It was. And just people like it because it's a little bit different maybe from the usual sort of poetry that you read. But it's also appealed to people that are not interested, I'd say, normally in poetry. I sold a lot of people copies and things like that, and they've said, I'm not really into poetry, but I like this because it reminds me of this. Or a lot of people always say, my dad would be like, people older than me that saying, my dad or my granddad or whatever will be into this. It reminds me of them.
People our age, you mean?
Well,
people the same age,
Old people.
Old people. See him trying to skirt around the bushes there, Damien.
Yeah, it's been great. It's a lot better than what I thought it was going to be, to be honest, because I just thought, it'll just be like friends and family and then maybe a couple of copies here and there. But no, it's been great. And like I say, it's gotten quite a few independent bookshops.
Yeah.
It
was in Waterstones in Wigan.
Yeah, it's in Waterstones
in
Wigan. Deansgate as well, I think, sell a copy.
I think that's where I nicked my copy from Waterstones.
Well, I thought that when I was doing that signing this weekend, I was like signing it, and people were meant to take it to the till and pay for it, and I was like, some people are like, I'll take this. I'll take it to the till and then just wander off out the shop.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that's what my fans or clientele are like.
No, I'm sure you would.
Well, that's probably if I was buying a copy, that would probably be something that creep into my mind.
James, you mean your friends are clientele? I mean, obviously people listening to this can't see this. I've never done an interview with somebody stood on a street corner before.
Yeah. So. Industrial estate.
We've had all that backstory. Put it this way, I wasn't recording when he told me.
Yeah, I've made about 300 quid since. I got
Do you know what, mate? I'm not, and I can take, certainly poetry and spoken. I can take it or leave it. There's some people that I really, really like, but I think the thing that really appeals to me about your stuff is, mate, it's not trauma based.
Yeah.
And it's not like and
Yeah.
find it.
I get that, because I mean, a lot of people do, struggle with stuff. And there is some poems that I've got that maybe do cover some specific things, like you say, like trauma-based stuff, but it's done in, I guess, with humour.
Yeah.
Like, I always think about British films. I always think, like the independent films, they always seem to have a depressing ending. There's never an upbeat ending a lot of the time.
Like life, mate.
Yeah,
Mate, it makes a massive difference when people who are in creative, me and Paul have this discussion all the time, they forget to be entertaining.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I get that. 100%. I mean, like I said, when I do poetry, I don't really do them anymore, but like when I do like the spoken word and the live stuff, or the open mics or whatever, I kind of feel like sometimes, you go to some and someone will be doing this really heartfelt thing, but it's like a 5-minute monologue, and you can sometimes see people just switching off, and especially if you sat somewhere and it's you scooched on end of like a rock hard bench or something like that, and it's like freezing or red hot or wherever you were, and it's just
I understand
cramped.
a lot of the arts is based on struggle and based on pretty hard hitting stuff. You just mentioned, I mean, you've mentioned British films there. One of my favourite films of all time is Four Lions.
Yeah.
Now, that's a really strong, sort of troubling film in lots of ways and raises a lot of issues, but it does it with humour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's, I think, with films as well, I've tried to do that. I think, obviously, one of the things with This Is England, what made it so popular was obviously it was a very dark piece, great performances and a good story, but there's a lot of humour that people, especially northern people and working class people, could relate to. You see a lot of films.
Something like that will change society more than somebody who's just hitting you on the head with a message. The racism that was in that, it was really it was, and that probably stayed with me more than, I've been to lots of events and people that are try to change things for the better, but that sticks with you, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love him as a director and stuff, but yeah, This Is England, including the TV series as well. I can't watch it that much because, like you say, it is horrible to watch.
I watch it, at least once a year. I'll go through it because I think it's one of the best things that I've ever seen. But yeah, mate, it's hard hitting.
Also, nothing's changed, Paul.
Properly stuff, yeah.
You look back at that goes through like various decades and stuff, but nothing's changed.
No, yeah, it's
oh man, that's another podcast, isn't it? I mean, we're stuck in that world now. Just to go back and obviously we want to talk about your new book. I kind of, because you did it, you wrote it as a short film, I think, didn't you? Because you sent it
yeah,
through.
I've done it. Originally was a feature length script with the first 10 pages being a short in its own.
Yeah,
right.
And so now I'm thinking, oh God, I hope this isn't really successful, and like he's optioned by Hollywood, because then I'll look a right dick. Because at the time we said, well, I mean, listen, mate, I always thought it was ace. It was just we weren't in a position to do anything, but we ended up doing something, which is what I just want to briefly touch on, is where we first came across you. It sounds like you were in the gutter. You weren't in the gutter at all.
Well, probably, yeah, still am.
I think we all were,
Oscar
mate.
Wilde says, yeah, some of us are in the gutter, but some of us are looking up at the stars.
He didn't have such a healthy beard at that time, Paul.
No, he can obviously afford proper beard oil now and not just margarine.
No, it just I just have to keep it trim because I've got, like I say, I've got a 9-month-old swinging off it every 20 minutes. So.
Well, this was back in the heady days of 2020, and the world was ending and everything else, and we were doing our Wigan festival. And I can't remember. I think I got in touch with you. I can't remember because I'd seen one of your poems on Insta. I really liked it, the humour, but also there was a couple on it. It was just really, really good. And I loved the way you kind of looked at what you did as, when I say, I know you take your art seriously, but you didn't take yourself seriously, and that kind of appeals to me. Anyway, we got in touch. So you've been on the Great Manc pod before because we spoke to you then about what you wanted to do, and poetry, and you performed some stuff with us, which was ace. It never got banned, we never got took to court over it or anything like that. So that's always a bonus with our episodes. And I remember we were asking, because you're a filmmaker and you've done stuff before, and it was a case of, well, is there anything you really want to do? And you said you got this script, and we were saying, well, listen, if you want to get it done, we'll see, we'll see if we can do it with you, or try and help you get it made. And you called our bluff, you bastard.
Yeah.
And you said, well, I've got this script, I'll send it through, because you talk like that then. You went, I've got this script. You didn't even sound like you were from Wigan. You said, I'll send it through, and you did, and I loved it. And I thought, and it, not going too much into that, but basically it's The Runner. It's out there now on, it's YouTube. It's done well at festivals and everything. We talk about that later. But it was the fact that it was a bloke from Wigan, the young bloke from Wigan, writing a story about women's mental and physical health, with two older blokes from Manchester who ran a charity going, yeah, I like the idea of that. And let's make that happen and get that story out there. And it was a great script, and we filmed it over a couple of days in Manchester, didn't we, mate? And got ITV Studios to edit it for us, got it out there. Like I said, done well in festivals. It's a real film I'm really proud of. Great performances from everyone. You directed it because I made you direct it. You filmed it because I made you film it. And we had it. It was a great couple of days. And like I said, I was really proud of the piece that we did. And you were saying at the time you weren't getting a lot of support from Wigan as a borough in terms of your creativity. And listen, it was hard times then, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But the beauty for me and Damien and me particularly is that kind of seemed to, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think that kind of spurred you into, because you're obviously a talented lad, and it spurred you into doing more creative stuff. You started going into the poetry, which you were kind of not a love-hate relationship at all. You take everything. You might not sound like it sometimes when you're talking, even to me, but I think you take stuff really, really seriously when you're doing it, because it means a lot to you. And you started doing the poetry, and then the book came out, and you were doing the open mics, and we kind of kept in touch and met up, and you were still looking to do the filmmaking. But I love the fact that you were sending me stuff, and at the time, we weren't in a position to do it, but it seemed to spur you a little bit. And, I know we've all had rough times since then for various reasons, but getting that film made, did that put you in a place where you thought, right, no, I want to do more creative? I mean, did it help? Did it help doing the film?
Yeah, of course it did. Yeah. And like I said, like you guys like giving me the support. Like I said, sometimes you feel like you're not getting it from people that you think might be willing to help. But yeah, like I enjoyed it because it was because I've had things before where you kind of, if you're going for funding or whatever, stuff like that, and it's like, oh, but you need to do this, you need to do that. And then when we did it, it was kind of just like it was like we'd done it the same as that I'd done it previously with my other films that I'd wrote and directed and produced myself. So that's what was great about it. And obviously, I mean, I'm probably not the only one. When stuff's not happening for you, sometimes you're like, I've just got to pack it in.
Yeah.
Like I'm struggling, like I've got no money, because I don't want to go and do a job where I might be getting paid more, which, I can be a lot more comfortable, not really have to worry as much financially. But that's going to take up more of my time, more of a commitment. So you're like, oh, I'll just stick and I'll go and work in a shop, or I'll work in a pub or whatever, and then, if I need time off, you can get it a lot easier in places like that. But yeah, like, I mean, I still do it today, a lot of the times, like, you have things where it's like, I might just sack it off now after this, like, but when you get back into it and you do it, it does spur you on, and it pushes you in and makes you realise, yeah, maybe I'm not going to be that thing, that person where you get it and, you're earning like, I'm not saying millions, but like thousands doing it, but you're loving it when you do it, and you'd rather not do anything else, even if you are, just getting by on a bit of money here and there and stuff. And it's good, like I said, to know that people have got your back and support you and stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed it as well because it was what I was used to. Like I say, like there's other times where you apply for funding or, people thinking, but they want you to jump through these hoops. Oh no, you need to do this, you need to change that, we can't have that, you can't do this. No, we need to have that. But with us, like I say, it was exactly pretty much the same.
Oh, we're very lackadaisical, mate. People don't say that word enough. It was like, well, come on, let's do it. Come on,
yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, I say that all the time. Like when I'd done things as a filmmaker, like Q&As or like that, or like screenings, and like you get like kids and they're asking you about it. And I'm like, the thing is, I was like, you just need to get out and do it.
100%.
Because that's the thing. Because like I've known so many people that I went to film school with and stuff, and they're like, got this script, and that was like 12 years ago, something when I left, and it's like they're still peddling it around. Like I've got this script, and like I've heard stories of people that are, they've done a film or whatever, like a short film, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to redo it and, remake it. And it's like, just move on and do something else.
Mate, they get stuck in that rut. And I think that's when it really affects people's, I mean, everyone's different. I mean, the good thing about that, I mean, the only, when we did the run and we filmed it in Manchester over a weekend, I think we were only threatened once, weren't we, by that guy on the bridge when we were filming. He went, you better not be filming me.
Yeah.
And he was proper aggressive.
So, yeah. Didn't even walk in front or past the camera. He was just walking past.
No, I still got that clip. I'm going to put it out, but it was no, mate. You could see you could see that you were good at it, and like I said, it was a great weekend for me because it was just, again, we had loads of stuff on at the time. It was when we were doing the exhibition with the nurses, so we were doing a lot of that. So that's all flying around your mind and stuff like that. So it was a great way to spend a weekend that wasn't pissing it down in Manchester with people and just having a, I mean, we did have a laugh. I mean, it was a, there was no kind of, there was a little bit of diva behaviour from you. Nothing much. Nothing much.
Obviously. Yeah, my only diva behaviour is like, are we going to the pub after or whatever and that sort of stuff.
Well, no, we had to ship in pies from Wigan, didn't we? I remember that. We had to bring him home. We got in touch and we've kept in touch. And obviously, we've been sending each other messages and stuff like that. And then I could see you. And when the book came out, you didn't really talk. And maybe it was part of it. You couldn't talk about it. But it came as a real kind of surprise. It's like, oh, I've got a book now. And I thought, that's ace. And it really came out the blue. So how did that start? Did you... is it Rebecca? Did you send that to Rebecca and say, I really want to do this? Or did Rebecca come and say, listen, we really want to do more with you? How did that work?
Yeah, so I'd obviously, like I said, the thing with poetry, like I'd done the belting, I'd done that, was obviously one of the first. I think Rebecca's Crash and Learn came out. That was the first collection through Manc, and then I think mine was next after that. So that was March last year, I think that came out. So yeah, I'd been writing some more poetry, putting it together to maybe, I had a couple of ideas. Maybe I should do something smaller where it's like a little, almost like a little, not like a small booklet of different poems and do it like that, or should I do like another collection again? But then obviously I've always wanted to, I enjoy writing, and kind of the thing with like writing a novel has always been, like, people have said it to me in the past about doing it, but I kind of have that weird thing because the way that I write, because in script writing, it's obviously I write characters that probably talk and act like me, but in a script, it's only the dialogue really that is written that way. The rest of it's obviously just written in proper English, as you'd say. But then I thought, if I'm going to write a book, I need to write it like I would want to. And you kind of have that thing where it's like, you go to a publisher and it's like, oh, here's my book here. And they're like, can you read and write and stuff? It's like, because none of this makes any sense.
Why have you written in Aramaic?
Yeah. No Times New Roman. So it was like, and then I just spoke to Rebecca about it because obviously she's been like massively supportive and stuff and understands that's the way that I work and that's the way that I write. So I just said to her, I said, I've got this book, and I said if it'd be something of interest, because I didn't know at first if it'd be something that she'd be interested in doing. Obviously, I didn't know mainly if she just wanted to stick with poetry. There is someone on Manc as well who did a collection of short stories, So I thought I'll just speak to her about it and send it her. And she had quite a lot on at the time, so it was kind of like, obviously, I was waiting to hear back whether we'd be doing it or not. But yeah, and she just said, yeah, I'd love to do it. And then, yeah, pretty quick turnaround, really. And yeah, and then she just said, yeah, let's do it. And then, yeah, next thing you know, it was like, oh, I can do it in a couple of months. And I was like, right, okay. Yeah. So
Christmas market.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought, that, getting Christmas sales. A Christmas book fair coming up in Wigan as well in a couple of weeks. So
Ace.
I was like, yeah, stocking fillers for people.
Yeah, but do you know what, mate? And we're having this story with various people at the moment in terms of, what is culture, right? And this is a long story. We'll speak about this somewhere else, or maybe on here in the future. I don't know. I'm not decided yet. But for me, culture is stories, and for Damien, when you boil it all down, it's stories, and it's how you get those stories out is just the medium of entertainment. Whether it's book, podcasting, film, whatever. But it's also, when you look at what you're doing, first and foremost, I would think, and obviously I need to get it and read it, but I know it'll be ace because I've read the script, is it'll be real, 100%. It'll be how people talk, literally how people talk. And it'll have humour in it that's not, proper, not even, I don't like that northern humour type thing. It's just what's funny is funny. And it'll be, it'll be from the heart. And what else what else better sums up culture? You're capturing all those things in a book, and it's accessible.
Yeah.
I mean, how long did it take you to do? Don't say 10 minutes.
Just while I was sat on the toilet, like most of my poetry.
Oh dear. No, it's
not based in the social club, is it?
It is, yeah. Well, yeah, there's like there's a lot of it is like set in the social club, and then pubs and Blackpool and Pontins and all that sort of stuff. So
you know what? I mean, obviously I've not read it and I don't know, but I just remember from the last time we talked to you that social club meant a lot to you.
Yeah.
And spending time. But going back to what Paul said in stories, what you're doing there, you're collecting the stories of those people that used to go in there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's like you said about culture, because that's what it is for me. That's why, like I say, like in the book, obviously thank my granddad, who'd died probably over 15, 16 years ago. But because I'd spent a lot of time with him in social clubs, obviously, because he used to go bowling and stuff. So like, especially in summer holidays and stuff when I was off, obviously, like during the week, his mate Bob would come and pick him up in car and go to like away games, if you know what I mean. And then
I used to do the same thing when I was a kid, mate.
Sit there with me lemonade, and I remember
Crown Green bowling kept me out of trouble when it was my granddad did exactly the same.
Yeah,
6-week holidays I'd spend on the green with him and his mates.
Yeah,
finger, fun.
Same.
Oh, mate, those
even
are deadly days.
Because he obviously, like, as he got older, he didn't really drink and obviously, like, didn't smoke or anything anymore. And I remember, like, he'd have, like, a pint while he was there. And I remember him letting me have a swig of his part of mild, dark mild, and I was, like, been upped ever since.
Yeah. Thanks, Grandad.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was just like I said, and, like, the reason why I chose darts, because I thought, again, going back to, like, that community and culture of, like, the social clubs and the pubs, and then your towns and your streets and your neighbours and all that sort of stuff. I kind of felt that darts was perfect for that, because darts and, you play your darts and your dominoes and that all kind of started in them places, pubs and what have you, like pub games. But then obviously as the social clubs have declined and, pubs are going the same now, darts has kind of turned into this big like extravaganza, where they've all like come out to like entrance music, like it's like WWE and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's like they come out with like page 3 models, and it's all like everyone turns up and they're all like dressed up in fancy dress, and
pubs, mate, theme pubs. Like there's a couple in Manchester, with it's a dartboard, but it ain't darts.
Yeah.
You know what? I went to the darts room because of in whatever it is, 9X or whatever it's called these days, and for me, it's the biggest British piss take of all time. Because we've took something that, like you say, is a pub game and turned it into WWE wrestling. And the whole thing nobody takes it serious. I'm sorry, I don't believe that anybody there takes it serious. So that for me epitomises the British sort of sense of humour and irony. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I 100% agree with you. Like, I know what you mean.
But some of the guys buy into it. I mean, it's like the guy that with the multicoloured hair and is it snake bite and all this
Peter
sort of
Wright,
stuff.
Yeah.
But then, what was he, Bobby George and all this? I mean, they are
my granddad hated him.
shows, aren't they? Hey.
Yeah, like my granddad hated Bobby George just because he was like a flash cockney. Like,
Yeah, with all the gold.
Yeah, my granddad used to be like, "Oh, buy the frost," and he'd be like, you know what I mean, like. But yeah, like Peter Wright was when I'd written this like originally, like years and years ago. I used to work in an hotel in Wigan, and when they used to have the when they have like the darts on at like the Robin Park and stuff, we used to get loads of the darts players staying there, and I was in the pub next door one night, and I got chatting to Peter Wright in there, and so he was proper saying, and I was telling him I was like, I've come up with this idea about darts and stuff, and was saying like, I'd like to think because I like it's come from social clubs and pubs, and it's kind of changed now, and there's a little bit in it. What I put in from what he said, because we sat in this pub and he was like, look over there, and he was like, there was a dartboard on the wall, but then there was a table in front of it with two people eating the tea. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, you know, that's like a lot of the times, and I'd noticed it in other pubs and bars I've been into that they've got like a dartboard there, but it's like you say, you know, a family of 8 and they're like sat there all tucking into like pizza and stuff, and it's like you can't start throwing arrows in between that, can you?
Oh, you can.
Well, yeah,
Mate, that's why I gave up drinking.
yeah. Getting a bullseye with a pepperoni on the end.
There's a friend of mine, an artist, a community artist, and me and Paul went to his group's exhibition. Okay, and they've used loads of local folklore, things like the wheat walks, all sorts of stuff. And one of the main things that they did was Log End, which is the Manchester dartboard.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. They'd all designed different Manchester dartboards as part of the exhibition.
That's pretty cool. I think I've seen like a few, like obviously I don't know, like you know, like the custom dartboards and all that sort of stuff. I don't know how I feel though if I had a lattice dartboard and I was like throwing darts at my own clubs.
He's still supporting them. Some things don't change, do they?
Yeah, always will do, mate. Always will.
Without giving too much away, can you give us like an idea of what? So I go out and I borrow your book from Waterstones. Yeah. Give us an idea of what the story's about.
So like I said, I guess like the basic premise of it is about a young sort of, because the idea of it, I kind of thought I need to do like a George Best, David Beckham of darts. You know what I mean? Like this good-looking guy, get rid, because the way it's set is like late 80s. So I thought get rid of the stereotypical darts player from back then. I thought, right, I'll do like a David Beckham, George Best of darts, but with that, like, I guess with that Hurricane Higgins sort of swag about him and that type of stuff. So basically, it's a young darts player who works in a chippy called Jimmy Stott, lives with his nan and granddad, and like I say, he spends his thingy with his mates and his family and stuff in social clubs, and it kind of overnight success and kind of gets put up as this, this big like face of the new age of darts. And obviously, as you know, with fame and fortune, it's not always a success.
No, it's not, mate.
Yeah, but like a lot of the stuff in there is, it's a big reminiscence for me because, like I say, it's things like going to the seaside, going to Blackpool, spending holidays in Pontins and stuff like that. I still love going staying in a caravan, me.
My nan had a caravan in Towin for 25, 30 years, mate. Honestly, it was like Devil's Island.
Yeah,
but loved it.
If I had the money, I'd live there.
Absolutely loved it.
If I had the money, I'd live in one, me. Just like them, they just chilled out.
You can now, can't you? You can get them to live in. Yeah. Take your family with you, though. Don't just.
Yeah, if they won't come with me, they can do. But I'd feel like sometimes on the end of, if you've ever watched Idiot Abroad, Pilkins obviously going to all these like Seven Wonders and stuff, and then at the end, because he's always going on about like his holidays in Wales in a caravan.
Yeah.
And then he goes in at the end and he's just there and it's just like typical grey British weather. And he's just like, I'm going to sat there having a cup of tea and just wandering about and stuff. And then he's just a bit like, oh, not really as good as I remember. and stuff like that. But
My happy place,
you know,
mate. Wales on a really
yeah, I was
cold,
gonna
rainy
say, yeah.
day, where the rain's literally taking the skin off your face. In terms of the story, so what happens when they're
coming in, an overnight success, and
yeah.
Kind of someone from a town that, which I guess is the same. Don't expect you to maybe do much or anything different with yourself, life. And that's kind of like what character he is. It's, he just works in a chippy and then, spends his wages just like drinking and hanging out with his mates and his family and stuff in the social clubs and the pubs. And that's all he knows. And, you've got like your grandparents working down mines and stuff. And that's just all they know. And then it's just that you do that till you can't do it anymore or till you drop dead.
Yeah.
But then he's kind of this person that has this talent for dart, becomes an overnight success. And as he kind of moves away and starts, traveling the country and all that stuff, like his town kind of starts to crumble and everything begins to change, like you say, especially with like the mines and what happened to like
is
the
it set around the strike?
It's not specified really, but there are, like I say, like there are strikes ongoing. It's not like a massive, like there's not like a lot of the book's not about that. It's about this character, but because I didn't want to get into that and start, being like a lot of other books where it's just about, I want it to be about this character and I want it to be about someone that comes from a, like a small town or a working class town that maybe a lot of people don't leave and become successful. I wanted it to, that's what I wanted to focus on more. That was my aim of it. And to kind of like, I guess the same if you look to myself and it's like reading a book like this and then finding out where I'm from and stuff like that. It's, you can be from the same place and, go out and do stuff like this. It's not like, oh, just have to, leave school, get a job, and then that's it. Like I don't do anything.
100%, mate.
So, but that's the thing of like why I always say to people about being creative, whether it's like you say, whether it is filmmaking, painting, writing, whatever, even like, a thing of, I guess like, even baking, you know what I mean? It's like a lot of people taking that up, especially with British Bake Off and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Just it takes you out of that rut sometimes and it gives you that outlet and, you enjoy it because you're doing it because you love doing it and not, oh, I'm doing it because I go to work every day and like, you know what I mean? It's like I'm breaking my back, on a building site, 5-6 days a week, in freezing cold and all that sort of stuff. And it's like I'm doing it because it's what I've always done and it puts food on the table and a roof over my family's head. So,
mate, I think it's, anything that you do to stick a smile on your own face, it's great if you can do it for other people. But first and foremost, anything you can do to stick a smile on your face is worth it. And if it's for 10 minutes, whatever it is, it is, whether it's art, culture, whatever, then you've got to do it, mate. You've got to do it, especially in, well, I don't know, especially in the times that we're living in, but it ain't going to change. But there's, I just love to see the fact that, there's people out there, not just you, but, I'm chuffed, mate. I'm chuffed to see you doing this. I'm chuffed to see you still producing, going out there and making it happen because no one's coming to you. Same with me. No one's coming and say, hey, should we do this? And it's, you've got to go out there and you've got to make it happen. And luckily, you're working with somebody who's open to that and can see, if someone came to me and said, right, we're going to do a film, but we're going to do it in that. It's like Mel Gibson when he did, his Jesus Christ story. Yeah, I'm doing a story about Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah, but it's Mel Gibson, so it's like Braveheart, but with Jesus. Yeah, but we're going to do it in Aramaic. You're going to do what? Yeah, we're going to do it in Aramaic, and no one will understand. And it's like, no, not doing it. And then he did it. He funded it. It made millions and millions. Obviously, he went off the rails for a little bit after that. But it doesn't matter who you are, mate. People are very scared of taking chances creatively. And that's what I love about you. To do that it's not a life endangering risk. Don't get me wrong, but it's a risk.
Well, there's a lot of talk about resilience, isn't there? I mean, people talk about a lot of the academics and organizations talk about resilience. Well, it's more than that. It's perseverance. It's James, like says, he's grafting all the time. He's doing stuff to keep his family fed, but he's still writing. and he's still creating, and he refuses. Again, we've said this before, Paul. There's plenty of people out there just go, no, fuck you. I'm not stopping. Do you know what I mean? No matter what you say at me.
Sorry, mate. What you're saying is really profound and good. But what I'm looking at here is you were on. I can see James looking now, thinking, has he collapsed? Because you're not there. You've disappeared completely. Your cat sat on your chair, and we can hear you talking. Do I need to ring anyone?
Oh, don't
get them round to your house.
The cats are taking over
today. I was late initially, and that's my fault. I lost track of time. I went in the office; it's piled up with stuff, so I'm moving that, and then the cats have just sabotaged my computer.
Unbelievable. Well, there's no way we can end we can't end it like this because it's. Don't let it ruin your day, James. I'll probably have to drive around later on and shout through the letterbox.
Oh, I'm still here.
Start telling me cats have taken over.
The cats will eat him. That'll be it. And he was found 6 months later. No one came round, and it'll be a story on the front of the Daily Mail, and they'll blame. I don't know. They'll blame.
Give me a scratch post out of his skin.
I can't reach the orange cable.
There's the stuff. Listen, don't worry about it. Listen, so what plans have you got, James? What are you looking to do next? And I'm
looking to do some more. Obviously, like the ideal thing, I'd love to do like a book tour, but like I say, it's
funding.
Feasible. Well, just how feasible that is. Obviously, was talking yesterday with Rebecca about doing some more book signings. Obviously, a bit, not too far away, but there is. Obviously, I'd like to spread it out because I don't want to just like do the book and obviously it came out last week and then just sit on it and.
No.
Ideally, yeah, I'd like to get on a bit of a, like you say, like a book tour with it, and go to a few different places up in the north and Midlands and the south as well if they'll have me.
You never know, mate.
So that is what I'd like to do, and then obviously I'm going to carry on writing. Got some more ideas of the next book. So
what about film?
There is a couple of things that I've written. I was looking at getting an agent if possible. So I've been, obviously some of the scripts I've written, I've been doing some work, writing some treatments and stuff for a couple of ideas that I've got. Yeah. So film wise for writing, looking into possibly getting an agent to help, obviously, get a bit more work and stuff like that. But then, like I said, my own project, whether that's just as a writer or as a writer and director. Yeah, I've got a couple of things, that I wouldn't mind looking at and possibly doing. Just keeping busy.
So can you tell us the name of the book, where people can buy it?
Yeah. So the book's called Every Neet at Week.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want it in proper English, Every Night of the Week.
Yes.
And yeah, it's available on benkeypublishing.co.uk. You can get it in there, and then on Waterstones as well. You can order copies online there. And then it's also available, obviously, for people more local to me and what have you. It's available in the Waterstones in Wigan in the Grand Arcade as well. I'd signed quite a few copies of my poetry book because they already sold my poetry book as well. So they've got obviously my novel as well now. So when I was in, obviously for my signing and book launch last Saturday, I signed a few copies of both books. So obviously, if you wanted a signed copy, you'd have to venture to Wigan.
I just signed them myself. I always do that.
Yeah.
To Paul, thanks for the inspiration, Stephen King, that sort of stuff. And he go, wow, did you meet him? Yeah. Yeah, he was in Sale he just got the tram into Sale. That sort of stuff. Lying as usual.
Listen, I met him in a pub is the best one.
It's what?
What pub was it? I met him in a pub. Which pub? I can't remember. I had too many.
Yeah, I can't remember. And I probably have. I probably met some really famous people and gone, yeah, I can't remember. Listen, mate, it's been brilliant to talk to you. And I'm honestly, I'm so chuffed that you've got this out and you're still doing it. And we love to work with you again, and we will find something to do without a shadow of a doubt. And I'm just worried about Damien now because I've not seen him. We've not heard of him now for the last 5 minutes.
I'm here.
Damien Carr, a man who thought more of others than himself. I didn't know what culture was, apparently, allegedly. Obviously,
I love these cats.
Yeah, and loved his cats, even though they ate his face. Anyway, listen, honestly, James, like I was saying, mate, really chuffed to see you still cracking on and doing some really good stuff. I will get the book, definitely. I'll get it for Christmas.
No, thanks. And like I said, thanks for having me on, and appreciate it.
And let's grab a coffee, mate, next time you're in Manchester. But don't bring the kids, because I'm trying to get away from mine when I go into town. So I'll just say I've got to go in a business meeting. We're having a business meeting, and we'll do it that way.
Definitely.
All right. You have a good day, pal.
You too. Thank you very much. See you later.
See you later, mate.
Take care, James. See you, mate.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to that great Manc pod. Please do us a massive favour and subscribe to this podcast. And if you can, leave us a review on iTunes. Both are a massive help, enabling us to promote the people and the great causes we champion to a much bigger audience. If you want to get in touch, give us a follow on Twitter @GreatMancPod and drop us a DM. Cheers.
You're listening to That Great Manc Pod, Greater Manchester's community podcast. Top one.